Cardi B in tears as Okoye finally makes it public. The atmosphere changed the moment Maduka Okoye finally decided to speak. For weeks, fans had been watching the growing curiosity surrounding Cardi B and Nigerian football star Maduka Okoye. Every appearance, every social media interaction, every mysterious post seemed to create another wave of speculation. Neither side had given fans the kind of direct explanation they were desperately waiting for. Then came the announcement. And according to the fictional story unfolding around them, it was the kind of announcement nobody saw coming. Cardi B was reportedly overwhelmed with emotion when Okoye finally made his feelings public. What had started as whispers suddenly became the biggest conversation on social media. People weren't just asking whether something was happening between the two stars anymore. They were asking one simple question. What exactly did Maduka Okoye just reveal? The silence before the storm. For a long time, Cardi had become accustomed to rumors. Being one of the world's biggest entertainers meant that almost everything she did could become a headline. A simple photograph could trigger thousands of theories. A comment could become a viral story within minutes. And a friendship could suddenly become the subject of intense speculation. But this situation felt different. There was a mysterious tension surrounding Okoye. Fans noticed that whenever his name appeared alongside Cardi's, neither seemed particularly interested in shutting down the speculation completely. There were no dramatic denials. No angry responses. No immediate attempts to explain everything. Instead, there was silence. And sometimes, silence makes people even more curious. Online fans began connecting dots that may or may not have existed. One group believed the two were simply friends. Another group believed there was something deeper happening behind the scenes. And then there were those who insisted that Okoye was preparing to make a major confession. For Cardi, the constant speculation was reportedly becoming exhausting. She knew what people were saying. She knew what fans were expecting. But she also knew that her personal life was not something she wanted the entire world controlling. That was why, when Okoye finally decided to make something public, the moment carried so much weight. The moment everything changed. It reportedly happened without the dramatic build-up everyone expected. There was no elaborate television interview. No giant press conference. No carefully staged red carpet. Instead, Okoye allegedly chose a simple but powerful way to speak. He posted a message that immediately caught people's attention. The wording was emotional. It wasn't the kind of message that sounded like a casual friendship. It wasn't vague enough to be ignored. And it certainly wasn't what fans expected from someone who had remained so quiet. Okoye essentially made it clear that there was someone in his life who had become extremely important to him. He didn't hide behind jokes. He didn't dismiss the rumors. He didn't tell people to mind their business. Instead, he opened up. And once fans realized what he was saying, the internet exploded. Screenshots began circulating. Comment sections became flooded. Entertainment pages started reposting the announcement. Within hours, thousands of people were discussing Cardi's reaction. But the biggest question remained. Was Okoye talking about Cardi? Cardi sees the announcement. According to the fictional story, Cardi initially didn't know how to react. She had seen rumors before. She had watched people create stories around her life. So when she first saw Okoye's announcement, she reportedly stared at her phone in disbelief. She read it once. Then again. And then a third time. There was something about the message that hit her differently. It wasn't simply what he said. It was the fact that he had finally chosen to say it publicly. For someone who had remained so private, that decision meant something. Cardi reportedly became emotional. She tried to hold herself together. But eventually, the emotions became too much. Tears began falling. Not necessarily because she was sad. Not necessarily because something had gone wrong. Sometimes tears come when someone has been holding emotions inside for too long. And according to the fictional narrative, Cardi had been carrying a lot of uncertainty. She had wondered what Okoye really thought. She had wondered whether he would ever speak openly. And now, suddenly, he had. I never wanted to hide this. The most powerful part of Okoye's supposed confession was the message behind it. He reportedly explained that he had remained quiet because he didn't want his personal feelings to become entertainment for the entire world. He wanted something genuine. Something that wasn't controlled by headlines. Something that wasn't dictated by social media. And then came the words that sent fans into complete chaos. He reportedly made it clear that when someone becomes important to you, eventually there comes a point where hiding your feelings becomes more difficult than admitting them. Fans immediately interpreted the statement. They believed he was talking about Cardi. And suddenly, everything from the previous weeks was being examined. Old photographs. Old comments. Old interviews. Old interactions. Everything suddenly looked different. Cardi's emotional reaction. The fictional story then took an even more emotional turn. Cardi reportedly broke down while speaking privately with people close to her. She had spent so much time protecting herself emotionally. The entertainment industry had taught her to be careful. She had learned that not everyone who says they love you actually means it. She had learned that public attention can destroy something beautiful before it has even had a chance to grow. So hearing Okoye speak openly reportedly touched a very sensitive part of her heart. She wasn't crying because she wanted sympathy. She wasn't crying because she wanted attention. She was crying because the situation had become real. For once, she didn't have to wonder what he was thinking. He had told the world. And that changed everything. Fans go crazy. As soon as the announcement spread, fans began reacting. Some were celebrating. Others were shocked. Some couldn't believe Okoye had actually said it. And others were demanding more details. Social media became filled with comments such as, "Wait. Did he just confess? Cardi's reaction is everything. He finally said it. This is not what I expected. Okoye really made it public." The excitement continued to grow. But amid all the celebration, there were also people questioning whether Cardi was ready for such a public moment. After all, there's a huge difference between having feelings for someone privately and having millions of strangers analyzing those feelings. Why Okoye finally spoke. According to the fictional story, Okoye's decision wasn't spontaneous. He had reportedly thought about it for a long time. He understood what could happen. He knew